Hello, this is Magician Rokas, and you are watching a little segment that I'd like to call
5 questions and a magic lesson. Let's spend some time with these famous magicians who just happen to be my friends.
I have Jen Kramer on this week's episode. I am extremely happy to have her, and she's a real deal. She has her own Las Vegas show. She has appeared on Penn and Teller Fool Us, and she even performed for the President of the United States of America. I'm not gonna tell which president it was, just because I don't want to get too political, but I just know that she did some magic for one of the presidents.
You're fired. Get out of here.
Jen Kramer, how are you doing? Good to see you.
Love us.
Jen, I want to know, what is your background story? How did you get into magic?
So I first started magic when my uncle Steve gave me a book for my 10th birthday. And this book was called The Royal Road to Card Magic. And I've always loved books. So ever since I was 10 years old, I've just tried to learn as much as I can and perform anywhere and everywhere I can.
Jen, you have performed your magic all around the world. I'm sure so many interesting things happened to you while you were performing and traveling. Can you share one story that really stands out?
Oh my gosh, so many crazy, fun stories in magic. I'm thinking right now about an amazing trip that I took with two groups that I really love. And one of them is called Magicians Without Borders. And they travel around the world, often to places where people are facing some really difficult situations. And they perform magic and spread hope and happiness. And Magicians Without Borders teamed up with the Yale Magic Society, which is a group that I founded when I was a student at Yale. And we did a joint trip where we traveled to India together. And one fun story that comes to mind is we were in rural India, and it was a town where most people didn't have cell phones or computers. And the way in which they advertised the show is there was a lovely young woman who was the liaison with the community. And she asked a few of us to come inside the car. And now she didn't speak English and we didn't speak her local dialect. And she had a microphone and she had a speaker and a megaphone that was taped to the top of the car. And so she would say in the local dialect of the community would say, "Magicians here from the United States, come to the show." And we would drive down these dirt roads and it would be, blaring from the speaker on top of the car. And she would point to us and we'd say, "Hello." And then people would come out of their houses when they heard it, follow the car. And so we ended up getting a whole group of people. There must have been 80 or 90, maybe even 100 people who came to the show that evening. And that was how the word was spread about the show. And I just love that. It was a great memory.
Okay, Jen, I have to ask this. I always wanted to know why, and I tried to make my assumptions, but I'm sure they were not right. They were not even close. So I just would like to hear your opinion. Why do you think there are more men than women in the art of magic?
Well, magic has traditionally been a very male-dominated field, but I do see it moving in a direction now where more and more women are getting involved. And I think that's such a wonderful thing. I think representation in magic is so important, and diversity in magic of all kinds, of age, of race, of gender, geography. I mean, all kinds of diversity, I think, make magic richer. So I'm so excited to see that magic is heading in that direction and that more women are becoming magicians. But as to why there haven't been historically as many, I think it's a question that there are many factors in the response to that question. And it's something that I've definitely given a good amount of thought to. And I think the one factor that really resonates with me the most, although I do think there are many factors that go into it, but one that resonates with me is that I think because magic has historically been so male dominated, there haven't in the past been as many female role models in magic. So let's say that you're, a young girl and you turn on the television and you see the magician on TV, and the magician on TV might be a male magician just because there have been more men in the past. And that having been said, there have also been some wonderful, wonderful women in magic of the past. Everyone from Adelaide Herman around the turn of the 20th century to past female headliners in Vegas. So there have been some terrific women in magic in the past, but I do think that the fact that there have been more men means that there haven't been in the past as many role models. And I think now that really is changing and more women are getting involved, and I'm so excited about that.
You have a dream job. You have something that every magician in the world wants to have, which is your own Las Vegas show. How did you get the gig? You have to tell me that. This is crazy. Tell me the story.
I feel so grateful to have the opportunity to do my show at Westgate in Las Vegas, and the journey to get there, it was something that I had dreamed of doing for many years, and it definitely took a lot of work to get to that point, and I'm very thankful for it. And I think the main kind of lesson that I've learned from it is just to be proactive and to be persistent, and those have really been kind of guiding principles through the years for me, is just not to give up, not to be discouraged if something doesn't work on your first try, because I think behind the scenes what ends up happening is you really have to just keep on trying and keep on persisting. And for example, in Las Vegas, I think if you go in with the expectation that everybody's going to be coming to you and saying, "Oh, come, please do your show for us at our property," I think that expectation might not be realistic. But if you say, "Hey, I'm going to reach out," and it's okay if most people say no. It's okay if most properties say, "Oh, it's not the right fit for us," or "We don't have the right venue or budget," or whatever it may be. As long as you get one yes, it's a win. And that's always been the way that I've looked at it. So I would just say if you're proactive, if you keep at it, if you're not discouraged if something doesn't work out on the first effort, and just keep going. That for me was the way that it ultimately ended up happening.
Jen, one last question. What would be one advice that you would give to a young person?
I would say do what you really love, because then you'll be motivated to work hard at it and succeed at it. So if you really just follow something that you care deeply about, I'd say that's the first thing. And then kind of to reiterate what I was saying before, I just think being proactive and being persistent are just the two key components, I think, of really making something work in the long term, because there are always going to be setbacks. There are always going to be challenges for anybody, right? And I think expecting that there will be roadblocks and that's okay. It's just part of the process. And if you just, you really care about it and you work hard and you're persistent and you're proactive and you really go after it rather than waiting for the opportunities to come to you and to land in your lap, that's the advice that's been the most helpful to me. And so I hope that will be helpful to anyone who is in that position now.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jen. And now, can you show us something or teach us something? It doesn't have to be magic. Can you just teach us something really unique?
So when I was in college, I took a course in Swahili. I've always loved languages. And to say I am a magician in Swahili, it's Mimi ni Mwana Mazingambwe. So the word for magician is actually 17 letters long. And I always just thought it was such a fun thing to say, and Swahili is such a cool language. So in case you've ever wanted to know how to say I'm a magician in Swahili, Mimi ni Mwana Mazingambwe.
Mizimini Mizingambwe. I hope that's correct. Jen, in Lithuania we say Ačiū viso gero.
Ačiū viso gero.
Oh, you're way better than me. It's actually sad.